Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the show. So today I'm very excited. I have Brownell. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
How are you? So, Brownell is the founder of the Cosmic Wish Experiment, a global grassroots effort to elevate our collective conscious energy by using a simple, fun, and free process to change the world based on solid science. Sounds amazing. And she's also an author of some incredible books, so including The Art and Science of Wishing, the Cosmic Wishes children's book, and The Art and Science of Wishing at Work. And I'm sure she can explain the rest. Your research reveals that wishing isn't just birthday candles and shooting stars, it's a universal practice. I'm super excited to talk to you today. We've got so much to talk about. Where do we start? Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I'm so thrilled to get your perspective and your energy into this. I just feel like already feel like there's an elevation that's happening just by having this conversation. So I appreciate that very
Oh,
much.
thank you. That's amazing. So tell us about the cosmic wish. I was looking into it a bit. Found this fascinating. So you've got your books as
Right.
well. So they're separate to the
Shameless
cosmic.
plug.
Yes, yes. Well, we can talk. I love that. That's
Yeah, shameless
awesome.
plugs. Okay,
Ah,
got that over
cute. We could talk about the books as well because I mean, reincarnation and is
Yeah,
that
I
yeah,
that's I mean, I guess that's a good place to at least start just so people
start.
can have a kind of a grounding is
Yeah,
that
because I
I
think our community loves that, that it's
yeah, is
fascinating
that
time.
I got to make it clear that I am not a scientist. I'm a storyteller.
Hmm.
So, when people say, "What you wrote this book with this 70 different scientists and like all these sciences of wishing and like where did that come from?" And it came from being a storyteller, which I can tell you like the whole history of how it evolved. But I always like to make sure people know that's really who I am at my core. So I've written over a dozen books, a lot of novels. So I I was writing a novel, which what led to this, which was a semi-autobiographical one, which I think you're going to really like because that's kind of this whole universe conspiring and helping you kind of thing. And then a year and a half ago, I had a trilogy come out that's this epic reincarnation mystery and love story about a famous couple from history who's reincarnated today to fulfill a prophecy that will change the world. So I write all kinds of like these kinds of things. And sometimes when people see what might write from my fiction and I get into all this metaphysical and spiritual stuff, they're like, and what does that have to do with science? And I'm like, well, actually, probably more than you think. But I actually started writing kind of a chapter in the book about the science of storytelling, and that's a whole nother thing. But that's who I am, kind of at my core is a storyteller that just got interested in science when I started writing that other book. So, however you want to take it, I'll explain any of it.
I love that because yeah, a lot of people don't really get it until you put the science into it,
Yes.
but a lot of us now we're realizing that science has been a box. Now we're evolving to more quantum physics, things like that. But for a lot of people, they need that substantial evidence more, and even me, I don't want to put myself in a box, but I still need a bit of like, how does this actually, how does this happen? So I love that. So yeah, so you've got how many, did you say 12 books? How many
Oh, I've
books?
got over a dozen. I've got
Wow.
some children's books. I've got novels. I've also written a bunch of screenplays and songs and all kinds of stuff. So
Oh,
I kind of go off into all these different tangents.
wow, that's
Yeah,
fascinating. So tell me about there's a trilogy.
yeah.
So the trilogy is
It's
that
called We Meet Again. That's the one, this big epic. It's kind of like the Da Vinci Code meets Outlander, this love story with a reincarnation theme. And it was really fun writing that with like starting out the characters in one lifetime and then kind of tracing them back to previous lifetimes. and pulling this whole mystery thread together. So that was a lot of fun to write. Of course, they're all fun. People say, "What's your favorite book?" It's like whatever one I'm writing at the time. I think is always the answer to that because I'm right in that flow of that place, you know.
Yeah. So you said you wrote one about wish fairies. Is that right?
Yeah,
Wish
yeah.
fairies? Yeah.
Yeah, that was it, it's called the book is called A Love Story to the Universe,
Oh.
and it is semi-autobiographical. And so that's kind of where all this kind of came from. And I think you'll appreciate this because it was a very interesting time of my life. And I decided I'm going to write this story. And as I'm writing, I'm thinking I'm going to write it from the point of view of what I call the upstairs, right? So you're these beings, guides, whatever you want to call them, up here, and you're looking down at these humans, going, "What are they doing? What is going on here?" And that's really what was writing. And so I thought this is really fun. And there are two guides and then two what I call traffic angels. And the story is kind of about how these traffic angels and how they had to work together to say, okay, how do you get an American woman in Colorado to meet a British man in Tunisia? Like that took some logistics to work out. And as I'm writing it, I'm like, wait a minute, they're real and they're telling me who they are. And it was a trip. It was a trip.
Oh,
And so that book was written in four parts because life is like that, right? So it's like I had this sort of story and then it went to the next story and there's definitely fiction woven in and magical realism, they call it. And then the fourth part, I had a kind of a personal wishing experience. And then I started thinking, I'm going to create this world that's upstairs where they have wish fairies, and that's where wishes are sorted and granted and captured, and how they know, like a whole system. And it's a whole world up there with, I call it Astrea is the word I used, which is actually Greek mythology about justice and truth, which I thought fit the theme. And so there's like a cosmic wish cafe and a history wishes museum. And I started creating all of this. And then while I'm in that mode, and when you're writing, you have to kind of do world building. And so you have to define certain aspects, like what is a wish and how is a wish different from a prayer or a goal. So I had to get these kind of things in my mind. And then one night I was listening to a lecture on neuroplasticity because I'm weird like that. But I have a feeling you might relate, right? I'm
yes,
like, when I can't
yes.
sleep,
One of
I
my
listen to
one of my
science lectures.
favorites. Yeah,
Yeah.
neuroplasticity.
Yeah. And so I was listening to one. I was like, wait a minute, is there science in wishing? And so that's what led to this huge exploration, because it was like all of a sudden all these things came out. Like it was felt like I'm in this room and I felt like I was alone. And then all these sciences come in to validate. And I love what you said about that, because the interesting thing about science is it is kind of like, I know, I'm sure you mentioned quantum physics, so Max Planck, and because he was the founder of quantum physics, for anybody who didn't know that. And he even talked about how necessary it was to bring religion or spirituality and science together. He said you can't have one without the other, was his famous quote. And the thing I love about wishing is that it's a natural bridge between those disciplines, especially when you look at the science, because you can be a super skeptic and still get it, right? You're going to be like that. In fact, have a whole chapter for fun with skeptics and and the gift of skeptics. And then you can be super religious, you get wishing makes sense.
Yeah.
And you can be just in the spiritual realm, and it makes sense. And even if you're just science-based, just that's all you care about, it still pulls together. So it's a beautiful way to unite people toward this kind of common vision.
I love that. You're just bridging the gap between
Yeah.
all, science and yeah, all cultures, all modalities. It kind of puts it all together. I love that. Yeah. When you was talking about being in that, the Wish Cafe, all of this stuff, I was definitely seeing it all. And I was seeing a lot of the Akashic records as well. They were showing me that you were entering what a lot of people here call the Akashic records, but it's basically just universal records. So your guides were sending you to the universal records and giving you the downloads of information so that you could put it in your books and share it with the
Oh, I love
world.
that. I'll
Um,
be honest, I was hoping you would get,
mm,
I was hoping to
yeah,
get your,
they were
because I'm
they were
so
showing me.
admire, like I've watched your show and hope I've obviously hopefully people listening have, and like you've just got these beautiful insights. So this is really fun for
Yeah,
me
well,
to
they
get
show
your
me it
insight on
like
that.
it comes in thought forms. So like
Yeah.
a bubble. So there was all these bubbles when you were talking about all of these things. And yeah, they were showing me the guides were showing you how the wishes work. And yes, it is true. And that's what the main thing they were saying was, yes, it's true. She's right. Yes, it's true. This is what we do. This is our job. Like, they're not just sitting around doing nothing, playing harps. They want fun, they want excitement, they want to help us, support us, love us, grant our wishes. They were showing me that we are it all. We are the universe, and the universe isn't on a budget. You can ask for what you want, but also a reminder of you can have anything you want, including the negative. So, the wishes are so valuable of being like defining what you want rather than just, letting it go on to, you get a lot of what you don't want here on earth. And it's because we're not defining what we really want and
Right.
being
That's
purposeful. Yeah. And another thing that keeps coming through is being responsible for what we're creating. So if we have, create these wishes which are more profound, and they're more positive, and they're more loving, and they're more compassionate and exciting and fun and flow and expansive, then it's going to shift the whole world. So yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It feels so beautifully validating
Mm,
for
yeah.
you to offer all of that. And even the words you use, because one of the things like in the children's book, and I've got even a picture of Estrella in here somewhere, I can show it to you, but is so you can see kind of the world.
Ah, oh yeah.
Isn't that,
Oh, I'm getting chills.
isn't
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
fun?
yeah.
But that's the message in the primary message of the children's book is, starts out with a little boy who's like, his little sister says, "Aren't you excited it's your birthday? You get to make a wish." And he's like, "Oh no, wishes are silly. They're not science." And then he gets taken to this place and he realizes that there's a science lab where they add science to people's wishes to make them more powerful. And the science that's mentioned in the book is the three P's, and you used it, two, if not all three of them in what you just said. The first one, it needs to be peaceful,
Mm,
right? And of course, these days that word means more than it
mm,
does, and some time periods of the earth, it means a lot more now. And it's how you make the wish as well as what you're wishing for. And then the book shows you, okay, before peaceful, after peaceful, how your wish shifts. And then the second one is positive, which you were saying. And that is so important, not only from a spiritual and metaphysical point of view, but also just from a science standpoint, that if you're wishing for something and not against something else. And so, because when you're wishing for something, it activates the reticular activating system, which I'm sure you probably know what that is. And that's the part of your brain that's like, I'm going to find a solution to that. And when people say, "Oh, if you wish for something negative or you think negative thoughts, it repeats," that's because your brain is looking for. If you say it, they're going to be looking for that. It's like you say, "Okay, I want to I'm obsessed with yellow cars," and all of a sudden you see yellow cars everywhere. Um, and so, but when you wish for something positive, so wishing against is not good. And the example in the children's book is one of my favorites. It's kind of a preteen girl, and she's in at her desk, and she's got her books and computer, and she's got her hands like this, and her little sister's trying to get her attention, and she says, "I wish my little sister would leave me alone. I'm too busy." And then they change and they add the positive sciences to that, which is like the reticular activating system and all these different things. And then the wish shifts to, "I wish I had more time for my sister."
Oh,
right?
I love
And
that.
then her brain is going to find time for the sister. Like that's how your brain works. It wants to seek those positive things. And then the third P is purposeful, right? So you mentioned that, like if your wish is purposeful, then not only are you, you know, you're wishing that you're going to be helping other people. It also means there are other people willing to help you manifest that wish. You start attracting the people that are going to help you manifest that wish. So, and what you said is just so lovely because, sometimes when we're writing, we feel like we've got those orbs of ideas that are helping us, and we feel like we're getting the guidance. And it still never hurts to get that extra validation from, especially from somebody with your kind of wisdom and guidance and energy and flow. So thank you. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Because when I first came on, before you came on, there was orbs flying all around me. And it was really cute. They were just like zipping around and they were super excited that you were going to be here. And
Oh,
I think they were just showing that, yes, these orbs, these little thought forms and all of these little higher, kind of higher consciousness forms were coming in just to show you, yeah, this is real. You're not crazy. This is real. And yeah, I definitely love that. I was thinking about the kids at school that have been trained to really look at science, like the value of science, and that they still get taught that you're crazy if you if you're too woo woo. So being able to show the kids that this is the woo woo is the science.
it totally is. It can be explained. That's the
Yeah.
beautiful thing. In fact, that's kind of one of the messages that I'm trying to give to the world is and in the book is how do you turn a wish into a cosmic wish? And to do that, you add the science. And then, because the difference between a wish, a prayer, and a goal is that, a goal is something you can accomplish. It's something in your control. You can set a plan, and a prayer is usually way out of your control. You have to ask for outside help. But a wish brings all that together. And then when you make it a cosmic wish is when you add the science and you start understanding the science. So, we know instinctively it's not good to wish against, and it's better to wish for something. But then when you add the science, you get that validation that yes, this is important, or how important it is to repeat your wish, because neuroplasticity says you've got to say it more than once. And then you might also be thinking, and the universe kind of wants to hear you say it more than once because they want to know you really want it. And just once might not be enough if you're bouncing around with all these wishes, right? So to me, it's really fun to start, like you were saying, like when you start seeing, oh, there's science behind this. The science can explain non-locality or quantum entanglement, or some of these concepts that were foreign to us, not long ago, but we knew them instinctively. Maybe now we're like, oh well, there's a scientific. The brain is working this way. One of the things that I've been most interested in recently, and I'm writing the follow-up book about the art and science of wishing at work, and so I got into this whole concept of storytelling and mirror neurons and all these things, and it got and I started getting really interested in the concept of where the energy of creativity comes from and can you activate it. And in the first book, I get into the concept of the default mode network. Are you familiar with that?
I've heard a bit about it, but could you explain it? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you're going to really love it.
Yeah, please.
It's and it's so important because there's basically we always known that, like, okay, we're in the middle of saying something and then we can't remember, and then we go brush our teeth or take a shower and we can remember. In fact, writer Aaron Sorkin, I don't know if you know him, but he's like a famous screenwriter. And when he's in writing mode, he says sometimes he'll take 7 showers a day. Well, we all know that feeling, like when your brain turns off, that's when you get the thing that you were thinking about that pops in, right? And there now the science is that there are parts of your brain that are on when you're focused on a task, and then when you turn those off to go do something else, especially something kind of mindless, it actually activates other parts of your brain called the default mode network. And that's what's always working in the background to find these answers that you're looking for. And sometimes they're in the shower, right? I mean, so, or you go for a walk or you do something where your brain is kind of turned off and all of a sudden all these ideas come to you. And that's an important aspect of creativity, right? To know, okay, how do I turn this off and on? Because sometimes you need to focus and write the paragraph, but then sometimes you're like, I got to get inspired to know what to write here. So it's fascinating to me.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, showers, I love showers. That's, a lot of thinking goes on in the shower, but I have heard, I'm not sure if it was something to do with the electromagnetic frequencies, like the water actually calms and soothes and it stops all the, just all the, the Wi-Fi and the thought forms and all the craziness that goes on. The water kind of is like a little bit of a cone of silence. It stops all the other thoughts and
Oh, I love
everything
that.
kind of coming from elsewhere. So you have a little bit more of a space to kind of get the downloads for the inspired action or, divine inspiration. So,
Well,
yeah.
and that also ties into the anthropology of wishing,
Mm.
right? Because there are the people have been like wishing has been a key driver of survival since the dawn of humanity. People have been wishing everywhere, all over the world, and there's often a ritual, somehow some kind of ritual involved. And the rituals often tie around to the elements, whether it's water or fire or air or earth, right? It's either burying that wish and then, that's when you manifest whatever it is because you buried it, or your water and you're allowing the flow to happen, or breathing out the candles on a birthday cake is kind of breath and fire. So I mean, it's fun to think our ancestors thousands of years ago had the same kind of instinct, you know. It's
Yeah, I
really,
hadn't
really
thought
cool.
of that with the
Yeah,
elements. Yeah, I
yeah.
love how you incorporated that for sure. I
Yeah, the
love that.
rituals are really important. That's
Yeah.
that's a very important part of our whole process of how do we, and you mentioned the cosmic wish experiment. It's about how do we unite toward common wishes, right? How do we have collective wishing? And I feel like we're missing that in our
Hmm.
society. And we need to bring that back, which is kind of why I did what I did.
Yeah, so that's what you're doing with the cosmic wish experiment. Yeah, so
Yes.
tell me about that. How does that work? Because I love that idea.
Yeah, it's still kind of well, it's a the program's ready, but it's still early, and so we're just kind of getting the word out. But when you were talking about the orbs, I'm thinking that also is kind of the visual of what I would call the wish circles in the cosmic wish
Yeah.
experiment. And that basically it's an idea, as you said, it's simple, fun, and free. I felt like you can't change the world if you're trying to charge too much and do all these things. And so I created it, and it's basically people can go on there and they can start a wish circle. They can decide on a wish, and that can be world peace, or it can be, lower crime rate in my city or whatever. I put it in more positive terms than that, but that was just the top of my head. I have somebody wanting to do a wish circle for I wish the world was a safer and healthier place or happier place for animals, right? So, different kinds of wishes. And then they invite people to join their circle. And then, and you get in there and there's a tracking. The idea is that you would make that wish once every day for 8 weeks. And ideally, there's some sort of ritual. So you can imagine, what if you had 5, 10, 100, 1,000 people all wishing for a safer world for animals, or for, peace, or for whatever it is you kind of, that we love our bodies more, wish everyone would love their bodies more, or whatever it is. And you all knew you were doing it together. It's really
Mm.
beautiful. And then that's the goal.
Yeah. Oh, I love that because there has been a lot of scientific evidence. Like if there's somebody kind of meditating, in certain areas, then the crime rate has dropped. And imagine if everybody around the world was doing these things and coming together. I mean, I know that it is out there, but more and more, if we can create this, we're going to be shifting the whole world. And I know it doesn't feel like anything's working at the moment, but it actually is working, because that's why we're seeing the purging of the dark, the purging of the shadow, because there's so much light. So we just need to remember to keep going, keep doing these things, and we can make them fun, and we can make them flow, and we can make them exciting. So yeah.
Fun is so important. I mean, you mentioned that before, and I wanted to highlight that. I mean, there's science behind fun, right? I mean, there's really interesting science, and I get into that in the book because, and one of the aspects when it comes to, our inner self or our body or subconscious, whatever term you want to use, if it's not fun, we can sabotage ourselves, right? If we're trying to push ourselves too hard. My first book is called 5 Reasons Why Bad Things Happen. So when people say everything happens for a reason, I'm like, yeah, I wrote the book on it. And in that, I talk a lot about one of the reasons why bad things happen is subconscious sabotage. And that's when our bodies doesn't want to go along with that ride, right? And it'll sabotage, and it can sabotage our wishes. If we're wishing for something that's not good for us, or that's not just flat out not fun, then it's not going to work very well. So how can we make our wishes fun? And that's the thing I love about wishes and wishing is, there's a lot I love about it, obviously, but is that it's fun. Like we all have a good feeling about wishes. And even the word itself is like, wish is this beautiful release of, relaxation and just flow, right? Just the word itself. So fun is really important.
Yeah, definitely fun. I usually say just kind of tune in with yourself and see if it's excitement or anxiety, because sometimes we'll push ourselves to do something and it's more an anxious feeling rather than an excitement and a fun and a flow and a freedom, peaceful feeling. So if we're really tuned in, if we're really in alignment, then we get that divine inspiration, that inspired action, and then it's always going to be fun. It's going to be more of that flow state, and we're going to be so excited to do that thing that we want to do because it's within our soul blueprint. It's within our DNA. Yeah, so yeah, it sounds super fun, and of course, there's going to be one person that wants the same wish as you. There's got to be someone around the world that
Right.
is on that same journey, that same path. I mean, we all are at the deeper level. We're all on the same same
Yes,
journey.
and so the more we can do this and enjoy it, and when you sign up for the Cosmic Wish Experiment, you get a playbook that has activities, and they're designed to be fun. I mean, they're designed to even work with kids.
Mm.
And that's important. It's like, okay, every week, okay, it's going to help you get more clarity on your wish using fun activities. Like, why not make them fun? And that it was fun to do that too. It was fun to
Yeah.
create that and to kind of feel that energy of that.
Yeah, I think it's so valuable to bring that back again because all of a sudden we lose that fun. At kindergarten, the younger ages, it's kind of all about fun. Then somehow we get told we have to grow up and stop being irresponsible and stop having too much fun, and that's ridiculous. Totally,
Yeah.
totally ridiculous. Like if everybody on the planet was having fun and living from their alignment, from their joy, from their peace, from their inner wisdom, it would just, the whole world will shift. And I can see it already. It is starting to shift, but we're just clearing out the ick first,
Well,
clearing out
I
the
love
crap.
that. Yeah, I love to hear you talk more about that. I've seen you talk about it some too. Um, it does feel like, we're seeing, like the cockroaches are coming out from the woodwork
Yeah.
because we need to be able to get rid of that. Like we need to
Yeah.
see, you can't solve a problem until you see the problem, right?
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. For sure. I
yeah.
think it's about observing and now saying what do we want and what don't we want? And now we want that more flow state, that more fun, the more freedom, more abundance, more wellness, more excitement, more, just everybody deserves to feel good. everybody deserves to follow their passions, follow their heart, follow their interests, their inspiration. So, it doesn't matter if we're different, that's fine. We don't all have to like the same art. But we just have to, respect each other. And if everyone's in that flow state, yeah, we're really going to create an amazing world. But yeah, we're just kind of getting rid of the old, and that's okay. We're powerful souls. We can do this. We came here for a reason. And I think people that like you, people that are watching these types of programs are here for the new earth, is what we're calling it, a new earth where we're bringing that love, that light, that fun back. And, just reminding everybody that they have the power within them. And it's not just woo-woo, it is science as well. It is, it is normal.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, and that's why, so when you can take it and make it make sense. And because some people feel guilty if there's anyone suffering in the world, and they're going to feel guilty for their joy. And that doesn't help you, because are you familiar with the David Hawkins power versus force? Do you know that
No,
scale?
not really. Can you talk about it? Yeah.
You've probably seen variations of it
Mm.
because other people have it, but that's the one I cite. And he basically takes energy, and he's like the lowest levels to the highest levels. And he has a score for it, and he did all this research behind it. And by the way, anybody here has heard me talk about science, and they either have a question or they want to offer me suggestions. I'm totally up to that, because I want to keep learning. Um, and anyway, but he talks about lower level and higher level, and that a lot of what's happening now is we're being pushed down to the lower levels. That fear, that kind of stuff is pushing us to these lower levels, and so we vacillate between despair and anger, despair and anger. But what we need to do is just transcend and go right up here into the higher levels, right? Which is where the joy and the humor and the courage and the higher, the better energy is. And that's what we need to remember, is that when we're up here, then we're so much more powerful when we're here. And that means let's remember to have joy. In fact, one of the things that I've gotten into lately, it's just been my kind of immersive, is the whole concept of savoring. Because it's one thing to be grateful, and it's another thing to just wallow in that gratitude. I mean, just like, I am going to savor this thing I'm eating. I'm going to savor this nap. I'm going to savor the comfort of this room. I'm going to savor this conversation. And it's been one of my favorite kind of little tricks I've been doing lately, is like, it's a whole nother level of joy and gratitude, is just savoring. And that can empower you to do the things that we need to do to make the difference. At least that's
I love that. Yeah,
my
I'm all into appreciation for sure. Just I
yeah.
remember once I actually tasted a strawberry for the first time. Like I actually tasted it. I was like, wow, I just fully was, I don't know if I was mindful or mindless. I was just I really tasted it. And I think that's what we don't do enough of. But yeah, that when you were talking about the suffering, it was interesting, is we can't go down. We're not going to help anybody if we keep going down to that level of suffering. You don't help people that are suffering by suffering yourself. You
There you go.
help people by bringing them up and showing what can be done, that you can live in alignment, that you can live your joy, that you can live in wellness, you can live your passions, you can have financial freedom. So there was actually a channeler, I think it was, that was saying a similar thing about we're all trying to be in the penthouse, but we keep going back down to the basement to get our crap. We just always keep going back down to the basement, but we need to clear out the basement, and I think that's what we're doing. Like you said, was it the cockroaches? You like
Yeah.
we're shining a light on all the dust and the dirt that was stuck in the corner, in the basement. We're clearing that out, and then we're rising up to the higher consciousness, the more awareness, the aka penthouse.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, there was a meme I remember seeing going around at one point. There's like, if somebody's putting you down, that means they're beneath you.
Mhm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah.
I think the converse works. If somebody is up here, then it's a lot easier for us to lift you up if we can find our own energy at this higher place.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a really kind of important message, and something, you know, that we can all wish for,
Mm.
is how can we elevate this energy? And you were talking about the all the experiments, and there've been several different ones about, like, when you're getting people all together meditating together, and how it affects, improves crime. And just even if all people are doing is spending 1 minute a day being peaceful, positive, and purposeful, right? Because their wish, in the framework that I recommend, is that you are that way as well as your wish. I mean, that could elevate a lot right there. Just, I mean, sometimes when I can't sleep, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get peaceful, positive, and purposeful. And it helps so much. It just can shift everything.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's really,
beautiful. That's amazing. That helps so many, because a lot of what we go through in life, yeah, I mean, we're creating it. So if we're really unkind to ourselves, if we're not being positive about ourselves, if we're not being peaceful within ourselves, we're actually attracting these negative things, and then we're blaming the world for being negative. But, there's kind of the electromagnetic fields, or you could say, what people call the law of attraction, or there's so many words for it. But
yeah.
you're bringing a lot in yourself, and we have to take responsibility now, saying, well, if we're not peaceful, if we're not positive, then we're creating a lot of the negativity. We're putting it out there, so it's just coming straight back to us. So, and then we're complaining, like, why is everyone mean? Or why did that car pull in front of me and didn't indicate, and all, all this stuff that happens to us. It's like, well, hello.
Yeah,
What are you
right. And
creating?
the beauty of it is it's just a
Yeah.
little bit of reframing to turn
Mm.
it the other way around, so
Yeah.
that your brain looks for that joy and looks for those. And it's okay to see suffering,
Mm.
and have empathy for suffering,
Mm.
right? And I think some of us, I know I probably feel like I'm in this category. I probably wouldn't have created what I'm doing if I didn't see a need to improve the
Mm.
world, right? If I didn't want to do something to help bring us, because I saw so many people saying, we need a movement, we need something positive. Plenty of protests, but protests again are focusing on the negative.
Mm.
They're focused on what we don't want. That's not taking us forward. And one of my favorite kind of lines that I wrote in the book is, that Joan of Arc had a vision, and Gandhi had a mantra, and Martin Luther King had a dream. What if now in 2026 it's a wish? I mean, something where we can all feel this positive future that we're all wishing forward, and that shifts our brain away from the negative. So it doesn't mean we don't notice the things that need improving, but we are in a much more powerful place and a much more positive place to make that happen.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Definitely. I mean, you can't create peace if you're angry at war. So we
right.
really, yeah,
Make love, not war.
yeah, yeah. And I
The
totally,
60s had it right,
yeah, oh,
that
totally.
part.
I love it. I understand a lot of people there are a lot of people suffering, and they'll be like, well, I can't
Yeah.
be happy. I can't be peaceful because I am suffering. But I would recommend to just get into the neutral, like that quantum 0 point energy first, where you're the observer, and you don't have to be positive and you don't have to be negative. You just are. And then when you create that default state of just getting into alignment every day, then you can just try, like you said, 1 minute of, positivity or peace or fun or a flow state. 1 minute. If the whole world did that, billions of people for 1 minute, yeah, it will
That's right. And
shift.
it rewires our brain, because
Hmm.
once we do it over a certain period of
Yeah.
time, and the data goes from, is it 4 weeks, like 6 weeks? I just say 8 weeks, just to kind of make sure it's completely covered. That rewires our brain to look for that all the time. We're
Mm.
always going to be looking for what can I savor today, or what if, and a wish is not to take you out of what you enjoy now. But it also helps you to get to, okay, what is it that's possible for the future that I can look for? And To tie it back when you're saying, some of the, okay, what maybe somebody's suffering, um, then tie it back to my first book is there's a reason it's happening. And if you can figure out the why, then you can transcend it. And I have a concept I talk about in the new book that I call reverse optimism. And I think this is a really important part is, and I have the 4 responses to a wish, which we can get into, that also tie into all of that. But reverse optimism is a concept where you look back and go, oh, now I know why that happened. If that hadn't happened and that hadn't happened and that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be where I am now. And so you're able to look at some of the bad things that happened in your life going, I'm very thankful that I went through that because that's what taught me this. And then it can rewire your brain to go, okay, if I'm going through something difficult now, what is the message? We talked about this before we went on air because we were both dealing with something. It's like, oh, well, what's the message? What am I here to learn from it? And then I can get to the healing because I got to the why, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that's a really important thing to look back so that we know that makes you also know I can get through this. I'll get through this. And the planet may be going through some difficult times, and it'll get there. We just all need to put in our part to hopefully get it there in a more peaceful, positive, and purposeful way.
Yes, definitely. Don't give up. Don't give up, everybody, because when you're looking at the outside world, that's old news, to be honest. That's not the future. That we've already created it within ourselves, and sometimes the outside world takes a while to catch up. So if we just keep going, like you said, like every day is the opportunity to reset, then it becomes the default system. So it gets easier to find your joy, find your happiness, find your inspiration. If we just keep, just like same old thing, riding a bike, keep going, and then you learn how to ride a bike, keep going. You can't just go to the gym once and then have your muscles. You've just got to keep doing it. And I think we get tired and we just want to give up. But wouldn't you rather have like a more of a flow state life than a miserable, a life where you're just so negative and just so done? I think we're here now, and I think we've been training for this very moment. It's our time to shine. Everybody that's here, we're light workers, we're starseeds, we're old souls. We volunteered just for this very moment to help raise the consciousness of Earth. And this is why it looks so crazy on the outside, because we've shined so much light on the dirt, that on the shadow, that it's like it's been, it's come all the way out to be seen. And now we can observe it. Like you said, we don't want to ignore it and pretend it's not happening. We can observe it and we can say, hey, this is not the reality that we want to create anymore. We don't want everybody suffering. So I need to go within, look at myself, take a look and say, okay, where am I the victim? Where am I suffering? What could I do to, even take a little step like that 1 minute a day just to help myself out? Because just by you doing 1 minute helps the whole entire world. So yeah,
Well,
no.
I'm circling back to what you said about the strawberry because I think that was so beautiful, and that can be actually like what somebody's wish is every day find something new to savor, and it doesn't mean it's something new, but it's something new. In other words, it's that strawberry. How many strawberries have you had your whole life, right? I mean, it wasn't like you'd never had a strawberry, but you'd never had a strawberry. I mean, you'd never really savored a strawberry. Like, what is this? And these seeds and this flavor and the sweet and the tart and like all the things that go in with it. And that would be such a beautiful wish circle for people to do, or a wish for people to do independently. It's just, I wish to find something new to savor in my life every day. And you imagine 8 weeks of that? That would be so incredible. You just have all these things like, wow, I didn't realize that I love the way that this is symmetrical that I'm looking at. Like this backdrop that I have was something that I had had in an old place, and then I finally got it back last week, And I was like, oh my God, every day I'm just so happy because I love it so much, because this is like quilt wall hanging thing. And so that would be, that would be a lovely thing for people to do. It's just like, what can that strawberry, what is that thing every day that I can just go, isn't this amazing? Somebody made this thing. Somebody dug this thing up. Somebody planted that seed. Somebody harvested, brought it, shipped it, brought it to me, that's the kind of thing that makes us really, really happy in the midst of even when we're dealing with the difficult stuff.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do actually, is to say, like, look at the trucks that brought the strawberries, obviously the people that planted them, the seeds, the tires that people had to create to go on the trucks, and you're just like, wow, so much went into just getting that strawberry to me. And then the deliciousness of, like you're saying, the sweet, the tart. It's just, yeah, it's crazy. And it seems so ridiculous, but we've just forgotten to do that. We're just such on a mission. We're just, we're like, oh, I need to do more. I haven't done enough work, or I haven't got enough of this. And, what is my sole purpose? I should be doing more. And it's the guides always tell me it's the little things, it's the basic things. That's what you're here for. The experiences. The experiences are what expand you. It's just the tiny little things you wouldn't even believe. I've had a few times where I've had, it's like what near-death experiences have sometimes, where they see their life kind of, flash before them. And I've had that quite often. And my life flashes. It's like this, like a movie reel, like a movie scene. Well, heaps of movie scenes. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like, and it goes through and it shows me my life. And it's the most basic things that are absolutely incredible. Like just me putting my feet in the ocean, or touching the sand, or just looking at a tree. And
Right.
it's
Or
just
somebody smile, like just a
magical.
smile out of the
Yeah,
blue. Yeah. Those are the
absolutely
things.
magical. And
Yeah.
it
It's
just,
the highlight reel
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah,
It's
the
not
highlight. That's,
being on stage accepting an
yeah.
award. It's
Ah,
that stranger smiling to
ah,
you the day you
it's,
needed it,
it's absolute blissful when
Yeah.
you get to experience that. And that's what the universe is kind of saying, this is it. Like, look what you did. You touched a tree. And I'm like, what? I touched a tree?
You
You're
should do it.
great.
You should do a
You're
guided
crazy.
meditation on that. You should do a guided meditation on that,
Yeah.
on like a life review guided meditation, so
Yeah.
people could, could kind of
Ah,
close their eyes and feel themselves go through that,
yeah.
because I think that is,
Yeah.
really, really important, and really powerful. And I love, I'm just soaking up all of the insights that you're getting from yourself, as well as from whatever sources and guides and everything else that are around you. I'm just like,
Yeah. Well, I feel like we tried too hard. That's half the problem. We tried
mm,
too hard. I don't know.
God, guilty.
Yeah, there's so many reasons. Obviously, parents, cultures, schools, there's just so many reasons why we try so hard, but we don't have to. It should be easy. We should be able
Or
to
even if
flow.
it's hard, if it's fun, it's not hard. You know
No,
what I mean? Like
well,
if
we
you
just
can
got to
make it fun,
laugh.
like
Yeah.
I'm writing this new book and I'm working really hard on it because I'm
Hmm.
having so much fun with these insights that are
Exactly.
going into it. So it's bliss and joy and fun. It's also like, yeah, and I want to get it done because I want to get it out there because I want people to
Mm.
know this. And so, but that's a different kind of hard than, oh God, what am I going to do now? And or I don't want to do this. I went through kind of an experience a few weeks ago, actually, where it was, at my age, you'd think, you'd kind of know who you're about, but it was like such an opening for me to realize, where is my joy? What do I get the most joy from? And am I chasing the wrong rainbow, if you will? And it was, and for me, it was like there are two things that I love, and that is I love creating and writing and new concepts and pulling things together and having, these activities and all this creative stuff. I love it. And then I love supporting other people, and the in between stuff, like me marketing, or me being me or selling myself or whatever, is I mean, I love having conversations, obviously, but it's not about me, right? I don't want it all be about me. And I just got so clear, like that's not the happy place. So something like the Cosmic Wish Experiment, or what I'm doing with the new program, which is basically a version of that for companies that are going through big change. And I'm thinking that's what I want. Like, let other people take the other roles and let me support them, because I'm happy in that place. Like, I create it, you go take it out into the world, and then I'm going to help you. So, or if somebody's doing a Cosmic Wish Experiment, I want to support you like crazy. Um, but let other people kind of take the lead and take the ownership of the whole first part. So it's funny though, because I look at that and I go, oh, then everything feels so much more comfortable because I know where I'm going to be,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
it's important.
that's great, because you don't have to do it alone. That's the thing. That's the whole point
Yeah,
of us all being here. We all have our special gifts that we can share. And if if we're not passionate about one thing, then there's going to be somebody else that is passionate about it. So they can, we can just,
that's right. And let them have
all,
that, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
all support each other for sure.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you had so cosmic collaboration. So you're saying it's different from The Secret or the Law of Attraction.
Yeah, I wouldn't I would say it's kind of like if you look at those frameworks, they might be this big and this just takes it bigger,
Oh,
right? It adds
yeah.
a big more of an opening to it.
Mm.
Um and that is what I call cosmic collaboration, is when um you know that, like I said, the difference between a wish, a prayer, and a goal, right? And a prayer is when there's something outside of you. And cosmic collaboration means that there is you do there is a role of an outside force, that's something that where you need that extra help, right? So that if it's a goal, you can accomplish it. You don't necessarily need other people. But when you're trying to do something, especially on a big spiritual level, where is the role of, whether it's your spirit guides or whatever, God, or whatever energy you want to call it. And then I love the idea that quantum physics would call that non-locality, and would talk about there's a way to tap into intelligence outside of yourself, the superconscious, if you want to look at psychology, and that knowing how to build that relationship and understand that relationship, and that's the extra drive. And the more you can realize that, and of course, just the simple thing of making your wish purposeful invites that more, right? Because the more that you make a wish purposeful, in fact, like in my children's book, the scene is a little boy, and he's got a towel around his neck, and he says, I wish to be a superhero. And he's looking in a mirror, he's like, I wish to be a superhero. And then there's before wish, right? But then when they add the science of purposeful, he looks in the mirror and he says, I wish to be a superhero so I can help people. And the reflection in the mirror are all the people he's helping,
Mm.
and all the people who are helping him. And so when we start understanding that level of what that extra collaboration is, and I think one of the other differences is that I get into what I call the four responses, which means it's yes, no, wait, or something better. So we may not get the wish that we wanted, or we may not get it in the right timing. And sometimes not getting the wish is the best thing that could ever happen to us, right? So we have to understand that. Like, and I think some of the manifestation stuff is like, oh, if you didn't get it, then you did something wrong. It's like, necessarily. Maybe there's a lesson in being grateful that it didn't go the direction you thought it would. Or that being glad that you didn't get something that you wanted, because now, like, the thank God for unanswered prayers kind of mentality. So when you start looking at all these dynamics and differences, I think it opens up your ability to appreciate your world in a very beautiful way.
Yeah, I think it's great to mention that sometimes the universe has other ideas for you, and something that you might wish for doesn't always come into fruition, but it's usually there's something better, or it means that you're not able to hold the container yet. Like you don't have maybe the nervous system yet to hold what you want, like
That's
if
the
you're
weight, right?
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
weight. Yeah.
If you're thinking, I want $5 million, but if $5 million went into your bank account tomorrow, would you freak out? What would you what would you do? Is your nervous system going to hold that $5 million? We
Well,
really need to be
and that's
realistic.
yeah, well, and also, and we get into the obviously into the science because, like I said, there's I quote 70 different scientists, so it goes into
Mm.
all these, and but it's deep in the science, although it's very relatable. But is wishing for $5 million, wishing for what you want versus what you need is an important distinction. Do you need $5 million? That's a concept that you can't really compute other than numbers on a spreadsheet somewhere, right? But if you need to save up for education for your kids, or you need surgery for, a family member, or there's something that's important that you're going to do with that is purposeful, then flowing the energy of those aspects of it makes it a much more scientifically sound wish, because that's what you're going to be much easier to guide to and find. So that's a really good example.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like it's quite exciting now. Quantum physics is becoming very mainstream. So it's
Yeah.
like finally everybody realizes there's energy, and it's all the kind of the basic stuff that everyone's like, oh yeah, no, that's not so woo-woo now. But I have been shown, the guides have shown me there's a new something beyond quantum physics that is
Oh,
coming in, but I don't know. I can't explain it. Somebody said, oh, maybe it's the holographic theory, but I'm hearing it's not that. It's something that, how quantum physics used to be a bit weird and woo-woo, and now, it is becoming like a
now
real,
it's Marvel's universe,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. It's so
I remember
true.
the scene in Marvel
So
movie,
true.
like, is it quantum everything? You all just throw quantum,
Yeah.
quantum everything when you write these scripts,
Yes.
Is everything just using that framework?
Oh,
Yeah, because I mean, it is funny because if you think about quantum physics, really, I mean, it's basically supposed to be at the quantum level, which is, I know you talked about in one of your talks about the
yeah.
wave versus particle and the double slit and how our intention will change based on whether we're observing, the observer's experience. That's the quantum physics kind of, it's down to that like subatomic level by definition, right? But it gets into all kinds of frontier stuff, like
Mm.
the intention, collective intention. Is that quantum physics, or is that maybe something else?
Well, maybe that's what, yeah. Maybe
Yeah,
that's what
maybe
they're
there's
trying to
some,
show me. Yeah.
because that's not as essentially at the quantum level, although that may be where we're connecting.
Mm. Yeah.
I went to a really interesting science lecture many years ago that was comparing the quantum level to the astronomical level, to astronomy, right? And that the parallels between the universe and the framework of the universe and the framework of the atom are like, they're almost exactly the same thing. They're just like, it was really, and I'm like, now I'm getting way over my own head, right? To know what the answer was. These lectures were I used
Yeah.
to live in Aspen. And they have a science physics center, and they get the like Nobel Prize winning physicists giving us free talks. And most of it was so over my head, but I still, even if I got like this much out of it, but that was one of the talks. Is we get these like, we would get the best of the best in the world. They come from CERN and all these different places to give us talks about physics. And so I don't know, where I think
Yeah.
the idea of non-locality, and that there's an energy and an intelligence outside of us, right, that we're tapping into, is one of the big frontiers. And is that really quantum? They're putting it under quantum, but I think that might be an area where you're
Yeah.
talking about like,
Oh, well, watch
um,
watch the
you know,
space, eh? Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I
yeah. I
mean,
can't wait to see
I
what you're
always
channeling on that.
yeah, well, I mean, I always get shown like basically the universe is just like one atom that moves so fast that it creates all of these, like everything. Um, but there is no time. So it doesn't mean that it even has to move. It just goes boom, and it just kind of, it's one atom creating everything. It's not even like it's not even all these separate atoms at the deeper level. It's just one that is moving so super fast and creating every single thing. I mean, it's so hard to explain, but it's insane.
Well, no, I'm tracking with you, or at least I'm interpreting it,
Yeah.
and at least, and that is the really key message is the creating
Mm,
part.
yeah.
And the power of creation in itself. And I had somebody take me through a life between lives regression a couple
Mm.
of months ago, and I visited this realm where it was like a playground where everybody, and if people don't know what that means, it basically means you're going to the place between your lifetimes. That's, some of it comes from the Michael Newton books where there's a part of us that's always there and a part of us that's here when we're here. And anyway, I went to see this basically a creative playground where all of us can go to create, to learn to create. So if you want to create a new bird or a new fish or a new flower or a new this, there were different, it was like a huge playground where you could just go and everybody could learn to create. And I love that because, if you know Michael Newton's books, he talks about, well, only certain souls at certain levels do the creating of new things on Earth. But I'm like, no, I mean, there's a whole place over there where they're painting sunsets and everybody's learning to paint sunsets, and the things that we create. So I'm really feeling like now I wouldn't consider myself a channeler, but I'm getting some really interesting vibe about the creation. And I'd love to know where your guides end up taking that, because I think there's something really powerful.
Yeah. Well, we have to remember we're all creators and we're all creating right now. We're so powerful that we have created this reality. That's how
Right.
powerful we are. But a lot of times we're creating what we don't want. So we need to be more conscious of what we're creating. But yeah, I've definitely seen that. There are in higher realms, there's creators that will be creating the birds and things. It's almost like they show me like the digital artists now these days that are creating a bird online. They
Yeah.
you're just creating what you want, and then you're like, oh, I'll try it in this reality. But at the same time, the guides are saying, yeah, but you're creating all of this. If nobody's in the lounge is the lounge really there? It just
Right.
gets created when you're observing it. There goes the double slit experiment again.
Right.
We're observing and we're creating and observing. We've got to
That's right. That's right.
remember it's
It's
coming
not
from
there.
within
It's a
us.
particle unless we look at it and becomes a wave, which is just
Yeah.
energy, which means, which is it, the particle or the
Yeah.
wave?
But I think
Um,
the bonus about this reality is we get to see how creation is made. We get to see how energy moves into different forms. When you're in the higher realms beyond time and space, if there's no time, then you instantly manifest. So it's like, boom, I instantly created that bird, or I instantly created that house, or I instantly created that whatever.
right.
Whereas here, you've got the illusion of linear time. So you've got to flow through energy and create, manifest what you want. But yeah, we basically at a higher level, we're manifesting instantaneously right here, right now. But what are we manifesting?
Yeah, and I think what I'm pulling from what you said before and tying it back to this is that there is a readiness factor
Mm,
to it. And that the reason for the time, this is like me just completely getting a download too, is the reason for the time is to prepare us for that. So that because there's no lesson in it if it manifests instantly, right? We get a lot more learning and growth and opportunity to connect with others through the process of bringing it and watching it come, and so the slowing down of time will, can actually help you. Like I said, wait is one of the four responses to a wish. And that's why I love the wishing, right? Because it's all about this, what are we creating, right? What are we wishing? And so the wait point is either you're not ready or the world's not ready. And there's maybe a certain timing where, okay, now I could have written this book 10 years ago. It would have done nothing, but now either I'm more ready or the world's more ready for this message. And so but the lesson and the growth and the process of that is the message, right? Is that it can take time because there's something, what you're going to learn and how you're going to evolve from that. is
Exactly.
the beautiful part. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why it's good not to get frustrated at yourself if something, if your dreams haven't come true or something hasn't come into fruition. It's because there's so much value in it taking a little bit of time so you can see the whole process of the energy moving in form and you creating. But if you take a look around at what you have created, it's incredible. Like we've got to give ourselves some credit.
That's right.
We are creating so much amazing stuff and some crazy stuff, but
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it's kind of back to your strawberry, like where you were creating the appreciation of that, which actually, in a way, transformed the strawberry in your life, right? The whole concept of a strawberry. And I think, this is again, I'm going to say something science that I was told in my research. Other people can disagree, but like within 1 second, we get 11 million impressions. Our subconscious gets 11 million impressions, but our conscious only takes in 50. I mean, right there, what's the potentiality? What's all there that is right in our awareness, but not in our awareness? Not, and when you're talking about the Akashic records, I mean, that's that all that information is there for us to
Mm.
to access when we're
Yeah.
ready.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, because I see it as there's billions. It's like there's billions of movie scenes per second that like frames, movie frames that we're moving through, we're shifting through, and we get to choose. It's like those choose your own adventure books, like
Yeah,
say there's three paths, or there's actually billions. There's unlimited paths of what we can choose. So each billionth of a second, we're choosing all these freeze frames, all of these, storylines. But what storyline do we want to take on today? You're the script writer. You're not just the actor. You're writing, you're directing. So what is your story? What is the play? What is the movie you're creating? So yeah, it's
that's
exciting.
right.
We have so many opportunities. We just don't realize it. But,
Yeah,
if you see that the top, the athletes and things like that, they use so much mindfulness.
oh
They
yeah.
visualize getting those goals, winning, and they're all about the quantum physics and the, you know,
Well, there's some interesting neuroscience about that too, that
yeah,
again
yeah,
I talk about in the book, which is um, when you're making your wish, to see it happening, right? To be able, because once you do, then you can start adjusting and seeing those things. Uh-oh, if there's this watch out, that might be blocking me. I got to get clear. Like you see it, you buy the galoshes if you're wishing for rain, right? But you also have to know that you can't assume it's done all the way. This is the neuroscience. Andrew Huberman, I don't know if you follow him, but I love him
yeah,
so much. And he talks about, because you don't want your brain to think it already happened, because then it won't be looking for the ways to make it happen. So it's a very interesting kind of dynamic as you like, okay, you see yourself, with that $5 million or winning that award, or, on stage giving your, famous talk or whatever it is. And that's beautiful. And still there's a knowledge of there's a path to get there, right? And um, so anyway, I
yeah.
knew we
I
could
feel
go
like
on and on.
we have so many blocks and belief systems, and
Yeah.
some people call them imprints. It's like a imprint. You might have got told something when you're 3 years old that you
Uh,
weren't good enough or you did a bad job. So it's like an imprint that's within your subconscious of, I always do a bad job. So if I do a bad job, that means that I'll never get financial freedom because nobody thinks I'm good enough and I don't deserve it. Just these
oh,
one
well,
little.
I know. My mother was always, don't get your hopes up. That was the imprint that was hard to overcome, because there's a bit of a passive aggressive message in that, right? And it's one thing to go, okay, be prepared because not everything works out. That's not, that's fine. But there's a message in there like, don't get your hopes up, like you're not good enough or whatever that
Yeah.
energy is. And
Yeah. Oh, no, I've actually been writing a list of things that I hear like that. Oh,
yeah,
all those, money doesn't buy happiness. Money is the root of all evil. There's so many things, or you can't have everything you want. All these things that it's okay, but after a while, it starts really getting in your subconscious of, oh no, I can't do that, or I can't be that, or I can't have that, and then you just start to give up. It's like, so,
Unless I always like saying, less giving up is to turn it to a higher power,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
If you're
Sometimes,
releasing, getting up is releasing to a
well,
higher power.
what's the
Maybe that's
one
the
where,
time.
yeah, where if you've got to bend your knees, so you've got to go low to go to jump. I don't
To look
know.
up, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or when you're in the gutter, there's nowhere but up, or
Yeah.
there's nowhere to
The
look but
thing
up
is
or out.
though, I'm trying to get everyone, well, I'm trying to get myself, well, actually I think I'm okay now, but the survival consciousness,
Yeah.
like a lot of it, what we were taught is survival consciousness. Even, it's hard because a lot of people are finding that their pain has really made them stronger. And I think that's awesome. But at the same time, we don't want to keep creating more pain. So we don't want to be telling the body that pain makes us stronger. So
Right.
we've got to
Yeah.
be
Well,
careful
and
what
the
we're
pain,
wishing for.
it was the lesson in the pain. It wasn't the pain. So if you can get to the
Exactly.
lesson a lot
Ex-
faster,
Exactly.
then
What's that?
like,
I think,
okay. And
yeah, I
my
think,
new thing, my mantra is I want to learn through joy.
yeah, exactly.
That's the
Because
lesson I want.
I
I
heard a
want
whole
all the
group,
lessons of joy.
yeah, I heard a whole group of spiritual people say that pain is my superpower. I was like, no, no, no,
No, no,
no, no,
no.
thanks, not, but no,
That
thanks.
would be the worst, one of the worst wishes you could make. Like that's a
Exactly.
bad
So be
wish.
careful what you wish for, people.
Careful what you wish for. I mean, in so many levels, in so many ways. That's right.
Definitely.
And then
Hey,
you
now,
got to shift it. Is that peaceful, positive, and purposeful? No.
exactly.
Does it meet that criteria? No.
Yeah, definitely. Now you put me onto your Facebook group, which, wow, was it like 12,500 people or something on there? That was like super fun, reincarnation stuff. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a vibe.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you there. And of course, I want to invite people. It's called Life is a Trip. It's a private group, but you can find it. But Life is a Trip Reincarnation Stories. And so, and it gets into the afterlife. It really is all about like, what's the purpose of life? Because if you get into reincarnation, then you're here for a reason. And then all of the things all pull together. And we just like sharing stories and asking questions and talking about different topics. So
Yeah.
I'm thrilled that you're there and hope you share your wisdom and views, and hope people listening join us. And the more the merrier. And we
Yeah.
have a lot of fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously too much of the time. And welcome. It's very open-minded, but I'm very open to lots of different points of view. I've said things like, let's say we had 25 members who all think they were Marilyn Monroe in a previous lifetime. That's okay. Like, I'm not going to judge which is the real Marilyn Monroe, because if they're having that memory, it's for a reason, and they probably have different reasons for having that perspective. And who am I to judge? Like, let's bring it in. So anyway, so yeah, I'm so happy to have you there, and happy to have you share all your beautiful, powerful wisdom
Mm.
with the group.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And so how do people get a hold of your books as well?
Yeah, well, I'm the only Brownell Landrum in the world, so
Love
that
that
makes it
name.
easy.
Mm.
And I know, thank you. And I know there are, I know you've got the links so you can
Yeah.
provide it, but you can find all my books on Amazon, and Apple Books, and all the online places. And some libraries have access to them too, so depending on where you are there. And I love reviews if people read the books. And I love hearing from fans, and I love questions. So especially the group is a great place to ask the questions. I'm going to be developing my YouTube channel, so be on the lookout for that. So I'm going to be doing all kinds of really cool stuff there. And just, I love hearing from fans. So
Yeah.
ask
And
me
you've got
questions. And if you
your
have
website
anything you
too.
disagree with, let me know.
Oh
Like, that's
no.
okay. Like,
Careful what you wish for.
I know. Well, I mean, I have a whole chapter on, fun with skeptics, and say
Yeah.
and celebrating skeptics, because I want to keep learning. I'm going to keep exploring and learning this topic. And if somebody has some other science that adds to it, or wants to expand on anything, I'm all excited to do that.
It's so powerful because yeah, I'm really trying to break open the box now, like the box is cardboard and it's wet and it's just starting to kind of disintegrate, and I'm just like, ooh. I mean, honestly, being a channeler now, all of a sudden I can't be in a box anymore because I keep
There
getting
is
the
no
guides.
box.
Yeah, the guides are knocking. It's like, hello, stop ignoring us. I'm like, oh no, here we go.
It's like in the Matrix, there is no spoon. Well, there is no
Yeah.
box,
Oh,
you know.
that is my favorite, honestly. Did they just send that to you? Because I say that all the time. There is no spoon. So every time I try to open a jar, I just tell myself there is no spoon, and then
There is no
the
spoon.
lid just goes pop and opens straight away. Every time I can't do something, I say there is no spoon.
Well, now honestly though, have you done spoon bending?
I have actually, yeah, I actually have.
I mean, for anybody who's listening, I mean, oh my God, it's really the most incredible experience, and yet it's the most simple experience. Because when you do it, you're like, because I went to a class to do it. And when I first, because I was like, no, I can't conceive of this. I don't know how this works. I don't believe this. This has got to be crazy. And then when you do it, you're like, oh, that's it. Like you can do it. And it's just incredible. We can go down that road, but
Oh, I love it. I
it
love it.
is, if you get a chance to do it, you'll realize that there is a moment where that spoon gives you permission to bend it, and it's timing. Again, it's one of those things. It's like right when the time is right, and then boom. And I have one that I bent 4 times around. I just twisted it and twisted it and twisted it.
I
Yeah,
love
really,
that.
really,
That's awesome.
really incredible. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, and I did it with I don't know if you've heard of Caroline Corey. She's actually done a few movies, and she did one about that kind of stuff and just like telekinesis, moving paper and all of this stuff, and it's all scientific based as well, which is what
Oh,
I
wow.
love that too.
Yeah.
And then she does a lot of remote viewing as well, which I do remote viewing, and it's like the CIA has been doing
Yeah.
remote viewing for years. It's just quantum
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
entanglement,
like literally since the 60s at
Yeah,
least, if not before
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So she was doing these fun things where we'd pretend, well, actually, I think she had an envelope, and in the envelope, we'd have to think about what was inside the envelope. Like we'd have to draw a picture of
Oh,
what was on the picture in the envelope, and then it came out. I think it was something in Paris, and we kind of drew the trees, and we did a few of them. But it's so fun just to practice. I've told heaps of friends just practice, think
and
about
have fun.
think about what's in a certain country, and just start to draw it, and then Google it to see if it's correct. It's like, yeah,
I
just
love it. I
play
love
around.
it.
It's all science. It's science. Yeah. So it's not that weird. Definitely.
Or
Oh,
science is weird, and then that's good too, because I like weird science.
yeah, science is weird, honestly. But science is becoming ever more fun now because, for a while there was a limitation to science, but I feel like everyone's breaking through the limitation and going to the next phases where the quantum physics has come in and
Oh yeah. In fact, I was doing some research today on the Bayes theorem. I don't know if you know that theorem, but the message that I was kind of pulling together and what I was working on and writing is it basically says, that there are two sides to an argument. One side doesn't get to own the argument. And when it comes to science, right? So it was like, okay, reincarnation to me was the perfect example of that. These people are like, you have to prove that it's real. I'm like, you have to prove that it's not. You know, you have to prove there's one life versus two lives. And one doesn't have the dominant viewpoint on that. Nobody knows
Yeah.
for sure. There's more research to show that there is than there isn't. So who has the burden of proof, basically?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
anyway, I knew.
exactly. And then yeah, honestly, quite often the guides will show me that both is true depending on what reality you're playing in. So
Yeah.
there's always another option. It's not,
That's right.
we're in the game of duality and polarity, but if you go to the wider perspective in the universe, there's so many more, there's so many more answers and questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. We could just keep going. Oh, you've been amazing.
This has been so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, well, thank you so much. So yeah, I'll put all of your links below, so your website as well, and then I'll link you to the YouTube. I'll put the YouTube link in as well, and link you to this episode. But yeah, everyone can just check out all the links, and your books are amazing. So super exciting. So keep doing what you're doing in the Cosmic Wish Experiment. I can't wait to hear how that one goes. I think even if just 2 people did it, imagine it's like the butterfly effect. That next person will do it, the next person will do it, and it will just keep spreading. So yeah, new Earth, here we come.
Here we come. We're ready.
Yeah, we're like Earth 2.0. We're like, right, this is going to be fun. Let's do this, people. Oh,
That's
thank
great.
you.
Oh, this has been so much fun. Thank you.